Hello and welcome to Gun's Movie Recaps. I am gonna recap a 2022 movie named Fresh, starring Sebastian Stan. Our movie begins with a young lady named Noah, scrolling through her dating profile while waiting for her date. Her friend Molly calls and she tells her how she is frustrated about her date being late. She tries to talk her out of it, but Noah says she'll stay because she is hungry. When her date finally arrives, he turns out boring and nags her with a self-centered conversation. Instead of compliments, Chad makes lousy comments on her outfit. He makes her pay the bill and unashamedly asks the waiter to pack his leftovers. At the end of the date, Noah lets Chad know that she doesn't think they match, but Chad instead ends up being a jerk about it and curses her as he walks away. On the next day, while training with her friend Molly, Noah shares how awful her date was and how unlucky she is finding a lover. Molly comforts her and reassures her that she doesn't need a man. Later that evening, Noah decides to talk to another match on her dating app. Before she could answer, the man shamelessly shares their nudes. She checks her fridge and decides to go for some grocery shopping to refill it. While at the supermarket, we learn that Noah has social anxiety and could be the reason why she prefers dating sites. While in the vegetable section, Noah is intercepted by Steve, who asks her if she has ever tried what seems to be grapes. Steve then insists that she should try one, and when she does, he ends up using the moment to ask for her number. Noah decides to give him a chance because she finds him interesting. The next day, while eating out, Noah tells Molly how she gave out her number to a dude she met at the grocery store. Noah praises how cute and funny he was, but Molly tells her to lower her expectations because he might be married. Noah reveals that the man hadn't texted her for 2 days and Molly teases her about it. While leaving Molly, Noah receives a text confirming her date that night. She later shows up and finds him already waiting for her. Noah orders her drink and Steve reintroduces himself again. They kick off the conversation and Steve reveals that he's a doctor doing reconstructive surgery. Noah reveals that she is an only child, that her dad passed on, and that she has no communication with her mother. Steve reveals that her mother passed on too, to which Noah says they have something in common. Noah becomes completely comfortable and they end up having a deep and a fun conversation. And Noah opens up that she has been single for a while. They make out in the bar and Noah takes Steve to her place. Steve hesitates and says they might be going too fast, but they end up doing it anyway. The next morning, Noah wakes up and takes a photo of Steve and kisses him good morning. She calls her while in the shower and tells her that Steve slept over and she had had a wonderful time. Molly asks for Steve's Instagram, but Noah replies that he's not on any social media. Molly exclaims and tells her that it's a red flag, but she completely ignores her warning. Noah instead tells Molly that her ex named Paul was the bartender that served them last night. While having breakfast, Noah asks Steve to try some short ribs, but he explains that he doesn't eat animals, and she stops eating in respect of his beliefs. Steve asks if she has told anyone about their relationship. She answers that she told Molly, her best friend, for over 7 years. Steve seems upset about it but plays it cool and they end up having fun and dancing together. Steve takes her photo and suggests that she should join him for a getaway weekend. She agrees to it, but when she calls to inform Molly, she tells her that it isn't a good idea for someone she has just met. She sends her the photo she took in bed and they joke about his cuteness, and she wishes them Godspeed. Steve arrives to pick Noah up and he tells her that due to traffic, they shall be making a stopover at his home. While driving, Steve tells her that they will be staying at Cottage Grove and Noah says she always wanted to visit. She texts and tells Molly but fails due to poor cell reception. Steve promises that it shall get better at his place. They drive away from town and finally arrive to Steve's home. Noah is astonished to find the place very posh and organized. While touring the living room, Noah asks for Wi-Fi but Steve tells her it's out. He instead offers her a drink and asks her to guess what's in the mix. She makes 2 correct guesses after sipping and starts feeling drowsy. She eventually falls down after trying to walking over to Steve. Later on, Noah wakes up from a long sleep on the ground. She asks Steve what happened and he tells her that he drugged the drink he made last night. Noah realizes she's chained to the ground and asks him what's going on. He tells her that the answer will freak her out. She then pleads with him to take the chains off, but he insensitively refuses to. She cries in denial, but Steve insists that he actually locked her intentionally. She freaks out and scoots into a corner in fear as Steve tries to walk towards her. she commands him not to come near her. While panicking and restless, he yells at her and lets her know that he won't rape her but reveals that he'll cut her in pieces and sell her meat to a group of people who fancy human meat. He adds that he won't kill her immediately but will cut her down gradually until she dies, and in case she acts up, he shall kill her immediately. Steve then asks her to act nice and comply and promises to feed her well because he's a great cook. As he explains, Noah tries to sneak up on him but the chains stop her. She starts screaming and he grabs her to calm down. Meanwhile, Molly calls Noah for an update on how things are but she is sent to voicemail. She gets an unusual reply and image that they're staying at Cottage Grove. As Noah is screaming for help, a woman from the next room answers and says Steve is gone. When Noah asks her for help, she replies that she is a victim just like her. They introduce each other, and we learn that she is called Penny. She met Steve when visiting and now she is being eaten slowly. When asked how long she has stayed and if there are others, Penny says there's Melissa on the other side and that she lost count of time and date. While at work, Molly searches online about Dr. Steve but finds no results. When she asks Noah for more details, she says that she'll be taking a technology break. This freaks her out and decides to back-search the images she received. Molly finds out it's an internet image and confirms that Noah must be in trouble. On the other hand, Steve frolics through the house dancing as he processes and packs meat from a human leg. He organizes the meat into boxes and adds some belongings from his victims' bags. He then goes out and mails the boxes. Noah refuses to eat Steve's food and requests to use the shower. Steve says he'll let her shower only if she smiles, and she forces a smile. While he leads her out, Noah studies the house planning an escape. When she suddenly tries to trip him over, he rounds her up and knocks her out. She wakes up on the operating table and Steve tells her that he drugged her and is taking one of her butts. She helplessly cries but he doesn't care. Molly shows up at Paul's bar where Steve and Noah had their date night. He catches up with Paul and begs him for any personal info Steve may have left the night he spent at the place. Paul urges her to go to the cops because he may lose his job. But when Molly insists, he promises her to think about it. Noah eats her food and gets interrupted by Penny. She pities her on having lost her butt, and as they talk, she learns that she may be the only victim he has slept with. Molly receives Steve's full name from Paul and does another search about him. She finds his wife's account and learns that he's a family man with children, and she notes down his address. As Noah limps to try and ease herself, she hears Penny screaming and being carried away. The screams fade and suddenly stop. After some time, Steve returns from cutting up Penny and finds Noah reading a magazine. She ignores his rant and asks her to stop living in denial. Noah then asks him why he had sex with her, to which he replies that he liked her but it was a mistake. He tells her to avoid stressing and leaves her. As she reads the magazines, she finds a written note from a former victim that says if she's reading the note it implies that he likes her, and she should take advantage of that. She calls over Penny, who is already fed up of the situation, and wishes bad over all those who eat their meat. Molly finds Steve's house and texts Paul about it. She sends him her location and asks him to check her up if she goes missing. She walks up to Steve's house and finds his wife, and she tells her about Noah being missing and how she had an affair with Steve. When Steve comes to check on Noah, she asks him how human meat tastes like, and he explains about it passionately as if she wants her to try it. Molly is invited inside the house and she tries to dismiss all the allegations and tells her to go to the cops for help. When Ann hears Steve at the door, she tells Molly to leave immediately. Steve walks in and asks what's going on, but his wife interjects that Molly is leaving. She quickly asks if his name is Steve, but he denies it and introduces himself as Brendan. She doubles down and asks him about Noah, but he refutes everything and tells her she may have gotten the wrong house. When leaving, Molly calls Noah's phone, and it rings in Steve's jacket, and before she could escape and knocks her out from behind. While at the bar, Paul checks on Molly, but he gets no response. Steve drives Molly to his Cottage Grove, and while there, he asks Noah to clean up and change into some nice clothes for dinner tomorrow evening. Paul checks on Molly again later that night but fails to get a response. He checks the location she sent and decides to find it. We learn that Steve and his wife work hand in hand, and she is fully aware of what he does, and she might have been one of his victims earlier. He tells her that he will stay late at work the next day due to many orders. The next morning, Steve jogs down to his Cottage Grove. He snacks on some human meat and heads to the chiller and resumes processing and preparing meat from a human torso. He takes it out for chopping and proceeds to grinding it. Later at dinner, Noah plays along to be his date but scans the house for an easy escape. She asks him when he first tried human meat, and he says he was 19 when he did, and he had conflicting thoughts about his newfound tastes. He explains that he later found a whole community of human eaters. She asks him how many there and he answers that they are a small community. He continues to brag that he hunts women because they tats better. He serves her some meat, and she gets flashes of the cult that eats the victims. He tells her that the meat was from girl named Hope, and she says it doesn't taste like she expected. Steve leads her down to her cell and she thanks him for the meal. Steve proceeds to carry in Molly as she struggles and takes her for operation. As Noah tries vomiting the food she has eaten, Penny calls her and tells her she believes there is a new visitum. Steve starts operating on Molly as Penny and Noah have a conversation. Steve returns with a gift and asks Noah to put it on for another dinner date. She agrees and he leaves her some makeup. They both dress up and Steve ignores texts from him. He picks her up and takes her to the dining table. He pours her some drinks and serves her some meat. When she asks who it is, he says it's Melissa and she makes a joke about it. Steve shows her his victim collections and says his clients want to feel close to the women they eat. He shows her pictures of Melissa and Penny, and she notices that her stuff is missing from the wall. Steve tells her he kept her stuff, and as they leave, she notices phones from his old victims and gets an idea. They head back to dinner and he serves her breast meat and says it should taste familiar. She laughs about it and makes more jokes about the meat. She gets emotional and cries and Steve gets closer to calm her down. He kisses her and tells her it's okay, that she is different from all he has met before. He kisses her and uncuffs her from the chains. She asks to dance with him and they kiss and have an intense moment together. She gets him on bed and excuses herself to the bathroom. When she comes back, she goes down on him and bites off his pee-pee and smears toothpaste in his eyes. She grabs his phone and runs to lock him out with cuffs. Steve struggles and kicks the first door open as Noah runs down to save other girls. Steve in agony threatens to cut her heart out. In the first cell she finds and uncuffs Molly. She goes to the next cell for Penny. She calls Molly to help her carry Melissa, who has only one leg. They find out that the exit is elevated with a staircase. Steve struggles out into the kitchen hallway. He senses Penny hiding, but she kicks him as he opens. Molly joins in, but he throws her. Noah tries to stab him, but he overpowers her. Molly then hits him with a mallet on the head several times. Steve manages to stand and hits Molly with a bowl. Steve catches Noah crawling and starts to strangle her. Penny stabs his leg and Noah escapes. She clings on him. He overpowers, turns on her. Molly kicks him in the head, knocking him out for some time. The three struggle and manage to come out from the backyard of the house. Paul arrives in front yard following Molly's GPS. Steve follows suit, yelling Noah, and swears to kill all of them. Paul freaks about the place when he hears a gunshot and decides to drive back. Molly suggests that they should split up to make it harder for him to catch up. Steve continues to cry and hunt Noah as he says he's sorry, and arrives to the cottage with another man. She finds blood, sees the struggle that went on in the house. She tells the man to find a flashlight. She goes to the next room and finds Steve's phone. She overhears Steve's gunshots, and she rushes outside. As Steve desperately searches, Molly and Noah wait silently to pounce on him. He notices Noah, and before he could shoot her, Molly jumps over him as he fires. They all stomp him on the ground. Noah grabs his gun and asks him to smile, after which he shoots him. They help each other up and move further, but they have no cell reception to call for help. Noah decides to turn back and trace her phone. Anna stumbles upon Steve's lifeless body and asks her escort to clean it up and freeze it. As Noah is able to retrace where her phone fell and finds it, immediately she turns behind to see Anna, who pretends to be a victim. She quickly catches up, starts strangling her on the ground. Noah manages to stab her throat with keys and gets a gap to escape shortly, but she stands up and strangles her again. Molly suddenly hits her with a spade on the head. She continues several times until she becomes lifeless. They rest shortly together and Noah learns that it was Steve's wife that they've just killed. Noah tells Molly she loves her, bringing our movie to the end. Thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments.